champion select, and we'll see whether they are going to be throwing any curveballs, because they like playing with flex picks in the draft, and they like mixing it up on the Rift as well. As you can see, Twisted Fate, Braum, and Malzahar are their chosen bans so far, and Vladimir Hecarim already taken away by EDG. So, of course, no Malz, no Vlad, nothing too crazy. We'll see what EDG take away last. The Shen is standing out.
I like the fact that they took away the Malzahar, because I honestly want Game Talents to free up Republic.
Oh,
give him
Sivir
that
is
proper
up.
matchup. I don't like to see him on Malzahar, and I want to see him on something mobile.
Yeah, well, they are going to ban away the Rek'Sai as that final ban, as GT lock away the Sivir, denying it from Deft, but also Sivir has just been so prevalent over the last week.
This week has been Sivir week, right?
Damn right.
With Game Talents, whenever they get Sivir, of course, the games generally go for 40 minutes, 50 minutes. But that's the point that Sivir does amazingly well, and everybody remembers the Deft insane moments.
Oh, yeah.
So that was definitely going to be a contested pick for them.
And that was exactly how EDG won their match against Newbie as well. In 67 minutes. It was off the back of a phenomenal team fight from Deft. Of course, some brilliant play out of Scout at the same time. His Victor was outstanding.
So the 3 picks that I have for Game Talent that I think you should definitely fear from them. Braum, which they ended up banning, Tom Kench, and Trundle. So 2 picks that I actually want to see if they end up going for.
Yeah. Well, they do have an opportunity to do so here as EDG take away the Alistair and the Gragas. Wushang now not going to be able to move towards the Hecarim or the Rek'Sai because they are both banned away. So something like an Elise is probably standing out as far as that top tier. But might need to dig back into the history books. It might be something like a Graves coming out, potentially, for this GT jungler.
EDG taking away the Gragas. Well, taking Gragas and Alistair. I love the Alistair pick. Last time I saw Mako, I gave him a lot of credit because I love the way he played Alistair. When they were at a deficit, he was tanking so much.
Oh,
Just ability to cut the losses like pretty much every time. Save his 80 carries, save the rest of his team. His Alistair play has been incredible.
It certainly has. As you can see, GT actually locking away the Gnar and the Tahm Kench, making sure that EDG know that Savoki's going to be taking that Frogman towards the bottom side of the map.
Yeah, so look like they just literally did that
goodness.
just to show them. It's like, yeah, this is Savoki's chance.
Yeah, see?
But yeah, they should have some.
I want to see Deft's Jinx. His win rate on that champion is still completely ballistic.
My biggest point is I would have rather seen a jungle champion instead of Gnar. Maybe they wanted to take the Gnar away, but there are some matchups that you can actually pick up, like an Aurelia. I would really want to just see, since a Rek'Sai got banned, but yeah, Graves.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay. Deft is just going to jump straight onto Kalista, and we saw Imp actually flirting with this in the draft phase last time as a pick into the Sivir.
Yeah.
But decided to go with the Cogmore in the end, and this time it's Deft. Did have a look at it for a sec, but it is going to be the Kalista, and Mouse takes away the Aurelia as well, and you've been pretty vocal about Aurelia into Gnar being pretty good for Aurelia once you get a couple of items.
Yeah. So a lot of Aurelia going into Gnar, but man, the Kalista coming back is a big point because, of course, Alistair has been a main pick coming back in the LPL.
Yeah.
Alistair has just been coming in first rotation almost every time. And so Kalista coming back seems natural. Issue, of course, is that she has a weaker lane, so the fact that they know that they're going up against the Tahm Kench makes it a lot easier for them. And the biggest point, of course, is her itemizing. Takes a little bit to pretty much get her going. So I want to see what she ends up building to make it less awkward, or maybe they just embrace the trough that she has.
Well, we'll see how it is going to go as Scout. Currently having a look at LeBlanc. Has played it once before. But not necessarily something that he plays a lot of. Does like the control mages in the mid lanes as Scout. Playing his role, but we saw, I mean, he's up against Republic, and Republic is an example of someone that shows that LeBlanc can be a teamfight mage.
Yep.
He was doing a whole bunch of work, but this makes a little bit more sense. Scout back to his wheelhouse and picks up the Victor.
And so big points coming from the GT roster here is Sivir and Azir. Right now, of course, they have Elise to pretty much get these lanes going, so, sacrifice her strength, no Graves.
Yep.
Just to get the early game going, get her lanes well in ahead. So right now, their late game is actually incredibly scary. A lot of backline threat with Tahm Kench and Gnar to pretty much keep them safe. I'm liking what Game Talent says. If they can keep this game going for a little longer than usual.
And I actually really like the bridging tools that they have as well. I mean, Gimgoon in lane will be strong, and he does have an Elise now in his pocket. And Wushang, what his job's going to be is getting these late game carries to the point where they can carry in the late game.
Yeah.
And his early ganking power will be important there. But Clear Love as well, I mean, he has that in his arsenal. That Gragas, the flash body slam, can be very scary, and EDG, a dominant team at the moment. Coaches are going to shake hands. Let's get into game number 1 between GT and EDG. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen, on the rift for game number 1 of week 8, day number 4. GT versus EDG. And the first dragon is going to be the Infernal. And look, talking about dragons, EDG probably happy that it's a pretty powerful one early on, just because the Rend coming out of a Callista is something that you got to talk about when it comes to securing these objectives.
Yeah, we talk about a lot of objective focus coming out of game talents. In their last set against Snake, they were a team that, even though they were taking what seemed like poor trades, Snake was almost always ahead in both games.
Yep.
Game talents pretty much clawed their way right back in just off of proper, much better dragon control. And so if they're able to ever get positioning here, perhaps they can showcase that in this set as well.
We'll see whether they can.
But of course, yeah, as you mentioned, the Callista. So I want to see how level 6 turns out. EDG has a pretty strong one. If they do get position on Dragon, of course they have Rend.
Yep.
So the Rend could just be the ticket to the free Fire Dragon, but they have a lot of team fight strength too.
Well, exactly right, and a little bit earlier spiking as well. I mean, if you talk about a 2-item power spike, I feel like Callista has the most pronounced one in the game. Or one of, with that Hurricane Blade of the Ruined King, or Hurricane other damage item, depending on what Deft does want to do.
Oh, and they're coming in. We could just see a skirmish coming out here.
There's the boomerang. Lands on the Mako there as Deft dancing around this. Throws some sticks in. And you can see Pentakill and Savoki taking a bit of damage.
One thing I don't miss, or I guess I do miss, is Callista level 1s.
Yeah.
Every time you just see a Callista level 1 trade, because Callistas are pretty confident in how it would work out. Get enough stacks, the trade goes long enough, and that's more than just a positive trade.
Can almost be first blood, because that Rend damage can be very frightening.
Yeah. And so that's something that we need to look towards, is how the early laning phase goes for Callista. Because if Sivir, Tom Kench ever misstep, that is just not going to be a fun trade to have.
Interestingly enough, actually, Deft was one of the players that really slowly took to Callista.
Yeah.
Moving into, I believe it was MSI 2015, Callista was massive, but there's the headbutt pulverizers. Level 2's gained by EDG. Nice boomerang from Pentakill. Does get himself the reset with the Rend, but it is damage traded onto the support as opposed to the AD carry.
That's a good point. He used to not be very good at it, actually. One of his major weaknesses when Callista was a strong pick.
Just took him a while, I think.
Yeah, definitely got better.
Oh yeah.
So now he's coming right back to the pick. Not sure if he's the only one doing it, or maybe something we don't see in practice.
Well, we'll see whether he can make it work here in game number 1 versus Game Talents. Currently, double the CS of Pentakill. But that's a big wave stacking up here for GT.
It's definitely a hard lane for Tom Kench, which is why I'm not really a fan of ever... Like, first of all, Tom Kench support's difficult as is, but if you're just telling the enemy team in draft that, hey, you know what, Gnar is coming top, Tom Kench is going bot in second rotation, that's really risky. So they found themselves in a position where both of their lanes are just outright countered within the laning phase.
Yeah.
It's going to be even for Gnar, of course, and up until Irelia starts getting items and spiking. Oh, well, you know,
That's frustrating.
yeah, it's a little sad.
Wushang is up here towards the top side as well, as you can see. A lot of pings going into the jungle. Clearlove's location known as Gimgoon. Tanks up a couple of tower shots.
You know, if he was able to stop that, that was going to be a dive, honestly. Wushang was waiting. Gimgoon probably should have just looked to get the Q off a little earlier. He must have known that the back was coming.
Well, does get his teleport off as well. Everything going to be fine. Clearlove now holding control here of the top side of the map. GT well aware of his positioning after that ward spotted him out. Raptor Sense cleared it, but there's the headbutt pulverize, and the Nom comes in. Savoki just delivers his AD carry to safety.
I remember the days of Kalista Alistar just being unnecessary, like a must rotation, or else you just instantly lose the lane.
Yep.
Ah, fun.
Pretty ludicrous. There's another one. Savoki needs him again.
Oh my god. I mean, that's just free damage he's taking, and Savoki is constantly chunking out his own mana for that, so
yeah,
this is really struggling. I talk about Game Talents being a team that frustrates teams, but looks like they're the ones getting frustrated in the early lanes.
There's an equilibrium strike onto Gimgoon. Hidden Style helping out as Wushang's coming down. Clearlove collects himself a cocoon on his way through the body slam, but EDG do make it to safety. Scout took a lot of damage there in the mid lane though. Republic with some control.
Yeah, so it's definitely a difficult lane for Victor early. He needs that upgrade to really start being able to push in on an Azir.
Well, goes back, grabs himself a Negatron cloak. Just wants to survive for the moment. His mouse, once again, looking for that equilibrium strike. Doesn't get it.
He probably backed on an awkward gold timing because usually you'd want to get your upgrade, but he just couldn't get it. So definitely coming back with just some MR to survive. But that's going to make it a little harder, of course, because that means he's probably going to look to go towards Abyssal. A little bit of an awkward itemizing, and at the same time, it just takes him that much longer to get to his first upgrade.
Yeah, well, that's the big problem. Well, often you see Victor's holding onto the Negatron cloak for quite some time as there's the Gnar into the wall. Mouse just gets flashed on, and Wushang secures the kill on the top side of the map.
That's exactly what you need. Maybe if you were to ask me what a weakness was from EDG, because EDG is a king, like they're kings at the moment, and they are the most consistent team. Some would pretty much say, hey, maybe TSM, but you know, today definitely proved otherwise. But one of the weaknesses EDG have is just kind of priority towards top lane.
Yeah, we actually saw Marin getting a pretty massive lead in this matchup. Last time we saw it, EDG, of course, LGD threw away that lead, but it was up to about 11,000, looking very dominant based on having that top lane so far ahead in this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, you don't see a lot of Gnar winning over Irelia, but if you have an Elise Gnar, definitely that can take over the matchup. So Clearlove, since he's, I don't know, if you're confident in your bottom lane, pretty much being as safe as possible, of course he's farming it out. He has 10 CS ahead. Oh, wow.
Scout actually using the flash, Emperor's Divide. A little bit confusing there as Wushang gets back into spider form, takes a bit of damage. And there's another exhaust coming down. PentaQ gets eaten at the last second as EDG. They're holding on. You can see Scout now finds a cheeky auto attack. Death Ray, just the tip. And Scout locks down the kill for EDG.
A lot of action on the map right now.
All over the place.
And mid. PentaQ able to get out there. Skin on his teeth. But like it was really, really, really close. But of course, Tom Kench able to save him.
Republic as well, still looking to go aggressive as Clearlove's going to start off this dragon. Mako moving around, has Deft in tow. With PentaQ going back, they have enough control on the map to get this done in standard lanes.
Yeah, so of course, usually if you see Azir taking full control of mid lane, you'd think this would be crazy, but bot lane's just getting way too far behind. Like, CS difference is massive right now.
Oh, yeah.
So, hell, that might even get Kalista ahead in the trough. I mean, like, pretty much she doesn't have to worry about itemizing because she's going to be this far ahead in the matchup, and now they got the Infernal Drake for it. She's sitting pretty comfortable.
Yeah, looking good. Recurve bow, and of course the Vampiric Scepter already built up for the Kalista. Good back timing from Deft. Two items that you do really want to hold on to early. Building towards the Blade of the Ruined King by the looks of things, unless he wants to grab the Vampiric Scepter and then get the early Hurricane for the extra wave clear, things like that. Has been something that we were seeing towards the end of Callista's popularity.
Yeah, it just really comes down to her itemizing. Of course, she has to get the attack speed. She really needs that. Issue is that when she starts, like the items themselves, pretty expensive. Especially Blade of the Rune King, so I want to see if she does look to prioritize that early. That was a major item for her.
Yeah. Well, Fate's Call's now available for EDG. A lot of extra CC if they'd like it, as there's the headbutt pulverize with PentaQ. Not a great spell shield. Gets the headbutt, but not the pulverize, and now Def dancing through, gets the rend, and PentaQ has to leave the lane. And EDG it just feels like they can do this over and over again.
Yeah, they have to be careful. I mean, I actually thought that Sivir and Tom Kent were doing just well for themselves now that they finally got back into the lane, because they had a massive wave they were pushing in, and they can just sit on it because they actually do have a push advantage, as we see action on the top side.
Yeah, there's the wallet. Equilibrium Strike comes in as Transcendent Blades from Mouse will try and even up this trade. It's not going to work as Hyperproc comes down one more time. Mouse has to be careful, but on the bottom side of the map, Savoki getting aggressed on Deft. He gets exhausted. The lick actually lands, and the Grey Health will have to be activated for this Ren. Nice timing from Savoki. Keeps himself up, and now EDG on the retreat. You can see Republic's making his way down, and Deft slowed up. There's the heal. He flashes out of the way as Republic was trying to get in there. Flash heal comes in, and Mako gets the headbutt. Republic out of position, and EDG, they're going to turn up. Republic's looking for this, but the Ren comes in. Clearlove grabs it with the explosive cask, and now Mouse trying to get himself back into the game. Grabs the kill on Savoki, and EDG answers strong.
Yeah, that was a lot of action coming out of there. Deft right now, that was actually incredible from Mako, because Mako, though he did get carried through, he was able to pretty much push Republic right back in, so able to answer out.
Really nicely done, and split the fight in favor of EDG. Game Talents no longer together, couldn't get it done.
So, Game Talents right now, their bottom lane, they definitely needed something to go their way. Maybe that does help them out, because that trade was, the initial trade was not working out for them. Savoki, you could tell he plays the champion because the timing on his
the Grey
shield,
Health activation.
Yeah, that was pretty key.
Well, always has been good at the Tahm Kench. Tahm Kench and Trundle seem to be the Savoki way.
Yeah, as good as he is on the champion, it's just going Sivir Tahm Kench right now into this lane. I say Deft and Mako's playing it really well, because at this point, I think I was making the point earlier that they should be shoving in the wave and not really worrying about the trades coming through, but Deft and Mako is not allowing that to happen. They're forcing that trade. Mako's going in for the headbelt pulse so they can actually start getting the stacks off, and looks like we might see some action here.
Yeah, looking for the counter gain because Kimgoon gets the Flash Nara into the wall. Mouse dodges the stun though as they turn immediately onto the Elise. She is trying to get out. As you can see, action on the bottom side of the map as well. Boomerang comes back to PentaQ, and he's so low. Wushang gets himself out, but Mouse still going aggressive. That's Sheen helping him out with the damage. And EDG seem to have the answers now at this stage of the game, even though the gold is so even.
Yeah, HP bars always seem to be low here. We can't get at this point, you would expect a lot of kills out of how many skirmishes happen. We might just see them though.
Yeah, there's the heal used preemptively from PentaQ. Throws down the spell shield, but it's answered. Savoki eats him up. Mako tanking the turret with the Unbreakable Will, and now Deft going to pick up the action. Ren comes down. He's able to answer that kill nicely, and now looking for more. Got the reset, so we'll have another Ren to his name. That tower is so low. Savoki makes it out. He's very brave to stay for that long.
It was a smart play to wait a minute.
Okay, re-engage with the Abyssal Voyage, delivers Wushang, but doesn't get the Cocoon. Mako's going to fall low as Savoki. One last auto attack comes down, and Deft does have to pay a lot of attention to the repel as Wushang picks up the kill with the Q.
It was smart enough from EDG bot lane to pretty much fight within the wave that was able to pretty much eat the Cocoon coming out of Elise. But yeah, Elise does get a double kill coming out of that. Really interesting. This game has been a lot more scrappier than I thought it would be.
Yeah, explosive, actually, the action in this game. A lot of these lane matchups feeling volatile as Clearlove looking to continue that trend. Republic with no flash. He's not going to risk it. Oh, yes, he is. Cancels the back as Clearlove shows himself. Looking to try and get damage down. Explosive Cask is going to be there. Savoki will be able to eat Republic, but will need incredible reaction time to answer that barrel. However,
Yeah.
doesn't have to.
Just trying to zone Azir from the lane, or at least from the wave, perhaps. Right now, Victor is at a pretty decent CS advantage. Has a kill to his name as well as Azir does. But, man, right now, I feel like EDG understand that they have their spike. They should just go in. And so they're initiating the fights whenever they can.
Yeah, and Deft as well now with the Blade of the Ruined King completed. Got that after that last back. Couple of kills picked up for the Kalista. Feeling very good. Now back into the wave, getting things done. Sentinel, not going to spot Wuxia. Actually,
there we go.
Yeah, Sneaky Devil. Gets a bit mad.
30 CS advantage for the Kalista. Of course, this usually is a very positive lane for Kalista. So I feel like this is the only lane you pretty much pick the
really
Kalista
nice
into.
heads up. Knowledge of Wuxiang's positioning here. As you can see, EDG pinging out the location of this Elise without vision.
Gragas is making his way down too. Azir is just as well. We might just see another fight coming.
Looking like it could almost be a 4v4.
No, he's going for the blue buff. False alarm.
Yep.
Nothing to see here.
But they are continuing here towards the bottom side. Scout knows that there's going to be vision available. EDG looking to clear that one out.
And it's definitely a massive vision battle right now. We talk about objective being a major focus. Dragon's up. It's a Earth Dragon. And right now we definitely see game talents putting in their pinks, putting in their wards, getting as much pressure. But if they don't have pressure in their lanes, they might as well surrender this position altogether.
Well, look at Deft just getting so much free damage onto PentaQ. The cheeky rend resets that he's getting while he's taking down the minions in the wave. Of course, Rend, since the downfall of Kalista, costs a little bit more mana, but she has a lot of extra attack speed when you're hanging around your support, which was sort of the trade-off.
It feels like Victor's trying to make some movement here. Now they just get the turret. But yeah, the trade-off, the change that came to Kalista was an interesting one. It felt just the damage they took off of her W, right? Just the passive you can get.
Yeah.
Extra damage was major.
The burst damage was changed with consistent damage with attack speed, I guess.
Exactly. And I don't think it was a proper trade, or at least just a trade that makes her pick worth it. But this is how you want to use her. Here comes the Rend. I just want to see how much Rend damage. We haven't seen it in so long.
I know, right? Well, actually just hops over the wall, gets the Rend, goes down to about 200, gives a free smite to Clearlove, who now moves into the jungle. They're looking to try and get the loop around as Savoki. He's going back to base. They spot him out. PentaQ throws down the ultimate. There's the Fate's Call. Savoki gets pulverized, headbutted. Fate's Call, so much CC as he's just freely tanking. Deft picks up the kill with an auto attack as Republic trying to turn this one around underneath the turret. Gets it with a Death Raider's Scout. Nice flash, but good attempt from Republic as well.
Yeah, he secures it. He was able to get the flash. That's really solid. He's going to come back in with perhaps once he has... Oh, wait a minute.
Gingun over to the side here as he throws down the boomerang. Wuxiang gets in, but there's the exhaust. The Nah has to hop his way out. Low health bars as Mako. He's done as much as he can, but Mouse is going to make his way in from the side. In goes the Blade Surge. Transcendent Blades follows through with the Equilibrium Strike, and Mouse picks up another kill.
See, as I say, that's the difference between somebody who is very, like, an expert at Gnar and just kind of like, you know, kind of picks it for the matchup. Because pretty much if you see Marn play Gnar, if you see him going for that kind of a play, because he was definitely looking for a sandwich, right? He didn't have the Gnar bar anywhere near where he should have had it, and so they zeroed in on him. He had to get away from it. Still has flash at the very least, so didn't lose too much, though he did lose his spike.
You were talking about this before, the fact that, you know, when we talk about MVPs for EDG, it's often Deft that picks most of them up.
Yeah.
Mako deserves a lot of the credit. Seeing Mako with a Fate's Call at his disposal again is just a joy to watch.
It's so fun. Like, I love Kalista, like, her gameplay, especially when it comes to, like, aggressive bottom lanes, right?
Yeah.
And so Mako, you give him that matchup, you give him Alistar. Oh, here we go.
Hell, there's the Mega Gnar. Has to crush his way out as Clearlove comes in, doesn't find the body slam, gets walloped as there's Mako. Gets the dive and Scout so much burst damage. Gimgoon having to flash his way out. One more auto attack and Mouse picks it up. Just drive by. We'll head back out underneath that turret. Transcendent Blades for some healing and they'll clear this one up. GT answer with a turret on the bottom side of the map, but that's a trade for 2. As you can see, EDG continue to push forward here in the mid lane, and this game is very quickly getting out of control in favor of our top team here in the LPL.
It's definitely opening up. They must have heard a lot of the criticism where I was just saying that this EDG's early game definitely not looking good, but now they're cleaning it up early. 19 minutes into the game. Yeah, sure, 4K gold advantage, but man, they are just cleaning up in terms of turrets. A two-turret lead. And this is with an early game composition.
Yeah, and this is with Mouse now finding himself 3 kills versus the 0 that Gimgoon has. So that 30 CS lead not meaning nearly as much, especially now with this Rift Herald buff. EDG just look to have complete control of the map and to know exactly what they need to be doing next here in this early game. Their late game decision making, their late game team fights has always been brilliant. But this, like you said, has been something that's been somewhat of a pseudo weakness. I don't think you can call it a weakness because they have been winning every single series so far.
Yep.
But it was somewhere that you could potentially capitalize on, that chink in the armor that you're looking for.
Yeah, and they just cleaned it up. Big thing is, even though it's a 3K gold lead, 4K, look where the gold is at. Right now, Elise has 3 kills right now. She has quite a bit in terms, she's even evened out in terms of CS with Gragas, right? Well, as the game goes on, that's not going to matter as much. But then you look at EDG, they have a major lead on the top lane matchup, major lead on the mid lane matchup, and their AD carry. They have it exactly where they need it. So, yeah, Game Talents right now trying to look for any kind of cheesy play.
Well, they are going to find it as the Chaos Storm doing some work here for Scout. Actually picks up the turnaround kill. How did he even do that? Why is he still alive as PentaQ almost dies inherently? In goes Clearlove as EDG are trying to answer. Mako, he does have that tether. He's looking for the headbutt. Gets it onto PentaQ. The heal comes out. Clearlove delivers a barrel of ale to him, and that's going to take his life. Savoki now looking to eat the Gragas. I'm not sure it's an idea you really want to have as he's just trying to hold on to these GT members. Another Pulverize comes in as Savoki just says, I'm out of here. Gets the Abyssal Voyage. Thankfully, it got buffed, so it activates a bit quicker.
Yeah.
But my God, that was supposed to be a pick on Scout, and that was not what they wanted.
The moment Scout was able to get this much damage
on
PentaQ, oh my, like, he got it on 2 people. He could have gotten 2 for 1 in that. The moment that happened and EDG was able to capitalize, they knew that was a bad play. As the EDG goes for Baron here.
Yeah, and this is with Deft with the Blade of the Ruined King. They've got a Mountain Drake as well as that Rend. This Baron is not long for the world, and Deft is able to secure it. Republic just says, well, I've got the timer, guys. And that's about all, as Mouse actually has to deal with Gimgoon. Does have the Nabar coming up relatively soon, but not quite yet. Lots of damage now onto this Nara's Deft, kiting this one through. Gimgoon.
Yeah, you don't want this.
Well, in a decent position. Big double pulverizes. PentaQ delivered back in. Deft takes down Savoki, and PentaQ says, well, I'm going to get in trouble after that one. Double kill comes in as the bottom lane dies. GT, they were looking for some sort of flanking play, but when their tank takes that much damage, it's just not a lot they can do, and Gimgoon has to teleport out.
Back to base. Oh, and then he's going to back from where he stands. So, that was interesting. And how good must it feel as a jungler to smite the Baron early? Because you know, Kalista is going to clean that right up. So this game is definitely looking a little bit like a show match.
It's looking a little lopsided.
Yeah. EDG showcasing their early strength and how they can use it. Every single time Game Talents try and look to answer with something, even a desperation play, they just get smacked in the face.
No, it's not looking good. As you can see, Deft going for that double lifesteal, grabs himself the QSS, the Curial Scimitar, on its way with the Vampiric Scepter sitting there at the same time.
And the one strength we spoke about with Game Talents was their objective play. EDG picking up the Kalista, able to get 2 Earth Dragons and Fire Dragon.
Yeah.
So even it just came through the lanes. They had the stronger lanes. Victor was having some troubles, but Clearlove was able to be there for him, help him out in his time of need.
Well, you can see Mako takes a bit of damage, but there's the headbutt pole. Wushang will have to use the repel, but where does he have to go? The answer is nowhere as Gimgoon. He's going to get the attention turned onto him. Fate's Call comes in. Good knock up from Mako as Gimgoon's going to die. Deft picks up that kill, and GT now getting corralled. Savoki, PentaQ, and Wushang have to run out of the way. Deft actually on the flank here as Dash Cannon is used from the Elise. Mouse flashes forward. He's looking for PentaQ. They don't have the vision. Turns that one around. Nice death ray comes out of Scout, but Mako's there. Doesn't need to even help out as Republic. I'm sorry, buddy. Mako just bops him on the face with a hoof. And EDG just look like they can do no wrong.
Action around the plate. EDG showcasing that they are right now the strongest team in the LPL and the most consistent, if not the strongest team in the world. They are destroying Game Towns. Game Towns right now, third place in their league, in their conference. Not a bad team by any means.
Oh God, Deft. Just the agility on this Callista is ridiculous. They take down that inhibitor very, very easily. EDG probably going to go back and spend some of their buckets of gold, unless they want to clear out some minion waves and some red buffs first, which it looks like they do want to.
Yeah, clean up their jungle. Remember, pick bans. I was talking about how much I like the Game Towns kind of, you know, their picks, right?
Yeah.
They could impact the top lane matchup, even though it had a negative, like, specific lane, like Aurelia versus Nari. You're like, I don't know about this, but then you have Elise. Okay, that strengthens the matchup a little bit. You got that going for you. And then they have Sivir, Azir. You get them to the later portions of the game, and they can make it work. That is your star late game roster right there. But EDG is like, what's a late game?
Yeah.
What's a mid game? Let's finish it in the early game.
Well, it's 25 minutes into the game. They have a 9,000 gold lead, approximately. Scout takes down a Rift Scuttler, and we'll move back into the mid lane to start shoving in these super creeps. Republic trying to do the same in the opposite way around. Cute little shifting sands for the fake out.
It's almost like, I want that minion wave. And then you realize you see Gragas and Victor. It's like, nope, I am out of here.
Well, EDG pinging towards the bottom side. Does look to be where their focus is going to move to, as Clearlove's going to clear out this side of the jungle as well. Nice vision for GT. They will know that EDG are coming. But they don't have a lot more to do. I mean, it is sort of siege time until that next Baron comes up, until that next Dragon comes up for EDG.
Something LGD should have learned is that once you've got this massive lead for you, just take it slow.
Yeah. You
don't have to take any risks. You got the lane in your... You got every turret pretty much in your back pocket. There's nothing... You don't have to work to do anything there.
Well, Deft does make short work of that particular turret. Inner on the bottom side falls down. 6 turrets to 2 now in favor of EDG. Still that Inner remains on the top side of the map. You can see Gimgoon trying to protect it by shoving that wave forward. Mouse waiting in the wings over to the side, so it will be a 4v4 until these teleports come down. Low health bars. PentaQ has to be careful. He's very squishy. Almost at the mercy of Scout and Deft right now, if they ever get close enough.
Yeah, and you know what feels bad as an Elise is your only strength at this point is in your cocoon, and Deft just has a Mercurial Scimitar. So one thing I wanted to look back on was the itemizing for Deft, and he got the Mercs, he got the Runan's Hurricane, and the Blade of the Rune King. Olds build, and they get on them.
Yeah, well, they are just going to dive through this turret. Flashes are used by GT to try and get out. They haven't started this fight, but they are utilizing their style, which is get in, get out, get back in again. Chaos Storm comes in. Wushang cannot take another tick. Nice dash cannon gets him out of the way, but Super Creeps are now crashing on the Nexus turrets. Deft, a little bit far forward, but just uses that martial pose, gets himself out of the way. And EDG now moving towards the Baron Pit, or the top side of the map, depending on what they want to go for here. Not a lot of vision around that Baron. It is up in a minute.
Take a deep breath if you are Game Towns, or even a Game Towns fan. There's a few of you out there. If they, right now, have to deal with 2 inhibs down, and a big point, of course, now that while dealing with this, a perfect Baron time coming right now. Yeah. 30 seconds into it. It's scary. EDG have this positioning. Not only do they have the positioning, but they have 2 super creeps. I mean, well, 2 lanes of super creeps just crashing in on Game Towns. So what do you do if you're Game Towns? Do you take the risk of walking towards Baron and contesting? If you do it, you better take that fight quickly. If you can't do it quickly, then you get stalled out and you pretty much lose your base for it.
You also have to kill Deft instantly in 1 round of CC.
I mean, you have to kill every single one of them instantly. Like, Scout is doing far too much damage. Deft, of course, incredible. You have an Aurelia at this point who's 4 kills, has a Yomu's Ghost Blade.
Yeah.
And even Alistair's doing a bit of chunk damage. Has Thunderlords for himself. Every time he goes in for a combo, you see the small chunking going onto Wu Shuang, onto Sivir. Sivir, like, the biggest point for Sivir in that laning phase. Every time he gets...
Oh, Ghost Blade's popped.
Oh,
Mouse is looking for it. Flash has to be used.
Yeah.
Spiderlings are going to tank up the Blade Surge.
But yeah, every time Pentakill would get hip up hauled in lane, he'd, yeah, sure, you know, Savoki would help him out for the response damage from Deft, but he would just get chunked by the Alistair.
Oh, yeah. And they don't even need Deft to help. Turns up a little bit late to this Baron. Will stick some sticks in it. Picks that one up very easily. Looks like everything on this map belongs to EDG. It is yet to let Game Talents know that that also includes their Nexus.
Ah, yeah. I mean, that one inhib's up. Maybe the second inhib's coming up soon, but that doesn't mean anything. That's just something a little bit more for EDG to fight for, and you cannot fight them.
Well, Mouse doesn't have teleport. He is up towards the top side, so it will be a 4v5 for the moment here for GT. So just looking to brute force this inhibitor. And up minions do make up for a lot that has been lost as the inhibitor falls. Inner turret falls on the top side. Mouse just preparing this for EDG as he builds up that wave. Now they just sidle on over. See good damage onto this creep wave from Pentakill. Able to get at least up there.
Oh.
Deft avoids the cocoon. Doesn't have to use his scimitar.
Yeah.
His face of the mountain was put down. Make sure that he doesn't take too much ricochet damage. Mouse coming back in. Super creeps making their way towards the bottom side of the map. Mouse. Game Goon about to hit that Mega Gnar stage. Hyper is going to proc one more time.
It's bad for him because now the wave's going to crash up to the top lane, and he's definitely not going to have Mega Gnar for it. Maybe he hasn't it for now.
Cheeky Devils. This inhibitor turret is going to fall down. Mako taking a lot of damage, but there's the engage. Savoki immediately gets his AD carry out, but won't have that. Non-face call comes down.
Oh.
Savoki and Wushang knocked up as Scout just deletes Pentakill. Look at that damage. The Elise getting over the top. The Republic just evaporates. And GT, I thought they were there for a moment, but they just got eviscerated. EDG will close out game one, and so incredibly commandingly.
This is a decisive win, probably the most decisive win I've seen all split from any team.
And in a week that has had some of the longest games that we've thus far seen in the LPL, EDG say, nope, it's time just to steamroll the early game, and they did exactly that.
Yeah.
First Blood did go to Wushang there towards the top side of the map. They made the right moves early, very, very early.
Yeah.
But then the fact that Scout got so far ahead organically, Deft and Mako playing outstandingly well towards the bottom side of the map. This is an EDG team that are playing like a dominant force. We were expecting it, but after what happened against Newbie, we were thinking maybe there's a chance that something happens, but no, that was silenced.
This was probably the, I don't want to say the weakest we've seen EDG, but like relatively to their strength that they've had all split. Yeah, sure, this is their weakness. I mean, weakest. But then they come in with this set, this one game, just completely styling on Game Talents. From the very beginning to the end. Now, sure, at the beginning, you were right. Game Talents knew their strengths with the Elise pick. They went top, and they took out Mouse. But then from that point forward, it didn't work out for them.
Just despicable. And giving Deft all of this power as well on such an early game champion just means that EDG, a team that likes to play around Deft, but they do it with Sivir, they do it with Ashe, they do it with these late game pickups that are only able to do that when it comes to that late game stage. Callista, you get your Blade of the Ruined King and Hurricane, you are good to go.
Yeah, and not only just the items, your support as well.
Yeah.
Throw that right into the bunch. And one big point that it's so hard to talk about when it comes to EDG is when you have so many all-stars in your lineup, Clearlove, Deft, like, pretty much, they're eating up all the MVP points, right?
Yeah.
You almost forget that they have amazing players on the other roster as well, now, on the other part of the roster as well. Now, Mouse is just coming in, and he's doing well for himself. But Mako, that entire game, playmaking machine.
He was an absolute beast. Just ridiculous stuff from EDG. Of course, it is a best-of-3 series. Game Talents have a big uphill battle, but we'll see whether they can do it after this break.